reaction. The editor-in-chief of Life's nationally syndicated radio host Laura Ingraham, and he's also a Fox News contributor and nationally syndicated radio host Herman Cain. I have never seen, Laura, a disconnect like this. You got this list of polls, Donald Trump wins. You watch TV, Hillary Clinton wins. You agree with this? Disagree with this?
I think there's a divide that runs through almost every issue that has animated this campaign season, Sean, from the effect of globalization, these big trade deals that Hillary claimed last night she was so skeptical of, which was ludicrous, the immigration question, how we should process things like health care and the refugees, and how we should even pursue our foreign policy interests and goals. That divide has been there for actually a long time, and we kind of papered over it in 2004. The Republicans came together and elected George W. Bush. But for some years, we really haven't dealt with that divide. And I think a lot of candidates came along and they rejected this idea of a more populist conservatism that Trump has, I think, embraced. And they just decided they weren't going to do that. Trump takes these issues, and as a billionaire, he comes off more blue-collar than a lot of the guys who've been in Capitol Hill for a long time who claim they have blue-collar roots. And I think last night you saw that authenticity. He doesn't do this for a living. He hasn't been debating for decades in Washington. But he is, he has common sense and pragmatic thinking, and he's frustrated that America is moving at a glacial pace with a non-recovery recovery. That frustration at times came out last night, but I think people understand he's frustrated because he wants America to grow and to be prosperous, to be safe, and for people to be happier. So I thought that part of it really hit people last night, even if he missed some opportunities to score some points. Yeah, listen, the authenticity is real.
I would agree that maybe he should have been defensive at times, like about his taxes or some other issues. And can you imagine Herman Cain going into this debate that I would tell you that the moderator wouldn't bring up the Clinton Foundation, the deleted emails, wouldn't bring up Benghazi, wouldn't bring up whether to vet refugees or build a wall or Supreme Court justices or Saudi Arabian money that Hillary takes? None of those things came up by anybody last night, but they did talk about birtherism.
Sean, your opening monologue was the best statistical monologue you've ever done. And what you have basically illustrated, and I'll get to your question in a minute, is that when America has a cold, black America has pneumonia. Thank you for saying that. And here's why. Many black voices won't tell the truth to the black community. You just did. Donald Trump is telling the truth to the black community. Now, you're absolutely right. I thought Lester Holt and NBC that they were going to rise above showing their liberal bias. They didn't. And the reason that they didn't is because of the liberal bias that they showed by not asking about the things that you identified. That was probably my biggest disappointment in Lester Holt and NBC. Now, the fact that he said, these are my questions, no. Those were NBC's questions, and it showed that that bias was there. Because if you look even further, and one of my callers on my radio show today pointed this out eloquently, the questions to Trump were leading questions to put him on the defensive. The questions to Hillary were all layups, and Lester didn't do any follow-up questions. So thank you for saying what a lot of people will not say, especially black voices.
Sean, I think that Herman's right. Of course, Holt didn't bring up any of those things. The questions were very personal, went to so-called scandal or misdeeds, supposed misdeeds when it came to Trump. None of those other things were mentioned. But this is where it's really important for the nominee to say, no matter what happens, I'm going after the Clinton Foundation. I'm going to hit the corruption in Washington. We're going to hit the skyrocketing cost of health care. Going to go after her position on refugees. And we're going to hit the pay-to-play at the State Department, using her position to sell access and speeches for her husband and donations to the foundation. No matter what happens, you as the candidate need to get those points in. So I think you'll see that happen in this next debate. I
agree with that.
But you just have to get it in. Hillary did that. She did that with his tax returns.
I think she fired every bullet in her gun, every attack, every memorized robotic attack that somebody wrote for her, she got in. And I would agree. I think there's opportunity on all these issues I mentioned, deleted emails and the server and the Clinton Foundation and Benghazi. And, I think there's an opportunity opportunity for Trump to bring all those things up. But the fascinating things, Holt interrupted Trump 41 times, Hillary 7,
Right.
asked only 6 questions of both candidates, but 15 questions only for Trump. And it was wrong on Iraq, the economy, and stop and frisk. He was wrong on three Candy Crowleys in one debate. We'll get to that later. But the online polls show Trump won. What do we take out of that versus the punditry class? That's what I want to ask both of you.
I think this election is about whether you think we're going in the right direction or not. Hillary has a record in public service. Trump does not. Trump was a private citizen. Yet she's trying to hold him to the same standard that she won't even hold herself to when she was Secretary of State or Senator from New York. So that's one thing. People are looking at the country now, the crime in the streets, the out-of-control borders, the stagnant economy, and their dreams being dashed as we cater to the dreams of illegal immigrants. I think a lot of people are sick of that. He has to just keep coming back to those themes, Sean, and the jobs question. She's never created a single job. I think that's what most people want. They want a future that is bright, and they want truth to be told to them. And that's what he did for the most part, I think, last night.
Herman, there was one big test for Trump coming in. Can he be presidential? I think he passed that test with flying colors.
I think he passed that test. He was calm. And the fact that the online polls said that Trump win, it's not about winning or losing, but it points out what you talked about earlier. There is a disconnect between the American people and the liberals. And the fact that the online polls were so overwhelming in favor of Trump, that said that, yes, the liberals and the Democrats think the American people are stupid. And those polls show they are not stupid.
And by the way,
that's the bottom line.
This happened in the primary, too. It's going to be fascinating. It's a fascinating 43 days from now. Guys, thank you both.